We've been very successful in changing public policy. But when we do that, I mean, you know, I go in my jacket and tie into our parliament, and I talk to ministers, and I talk to, you know, parliamentarians, and that gets us so far. But the patient voice can bring it the stage further, because that makes the emotional connection. I can give the facts and I can give the evidence, but to make the emotional connection, we need the stroke survivor. We need the story of that survivor. And you know, one good example of that is there's a program called Early Supported Discharge. So that's really moving people out of hospital beds and getting them home earlier. They get their therapy for the first 6 to 8 weeks at home. And you know, it's been proved in many countries around Europe that improves outcomes and actually reduces overall costs for the health service as well. So we demand that we were able to bring into our Minister for Finance, who was only lived down the road from him, who was able to say that he couldn't open his door when he went on the Early Supported Discharge programme, and 6 weeks later he was cycling round the Phoenix Park, which is in Dublin, which for anyone who knows Dublin is it's the second, I think, largest enclosed park or urban park in Europe. He cycled around the whole thing 6 weeks later, 6 weeks after not being able to open his front door. And that brought home, you know, to people who make those decisions in a way nobody else could. That brought home what you know, what that program really means to a real person's life.
Representing the patient's voice is very, very, very important, I think. And well, as I said originally, I'm a health professional, but I've had strokes in my family and friends very, very close to me. So by now I really know very well what it feels like for relatives, spouses, a family, to have someone in your family suffering a stroke. We have a lot of professionals that actually mean very, very well, but they don't have to live a life with stroke. The only ones that actually do that are stroke survivors and their families. And in a whole lot of things, their point of view is different. And that voice needs to be heard, or healthcare will never be improved.
The patient voice important because they really give the spirit to make the change. Because the personal people, the professional people, they have the data, they have the knowledge, they have to know how to do things, but they don't have the patient. Because this is their lives, so we have the power to to move the political to the decision maker, the public, because numbers are very important, but if you don't put the fire there for the patient of the people, things will change very, very slowly. And I think that everybody knows it now, that if the patient there, it's a lot of power. The first when I started, I think that even the professional people, they looked at the patient like something, you know, not educated people. Who are they to say to us what is really important? Not anymore, not anymore. Because they sign papers, but I'm not part of the system. We are not part of the system. We're allowed to say everything. Nobody can fire me. They don't pay me their salary. They don't pay the patient's salary. So we are allowed to say everything we want, and we can use it as the power.